This is the 19th G20 Summit to be held, and right here on the show, we are going out to the streets to find out from young people, what does it mean for us to have the G20 right here in South Africa, and how will it benefit the youth of South Africa? We have spoken to Dr. Miende from the NYDA, Levi Sin from the Y20. We also heard from young people on the ground, but now we are joined by co-founder of GirlCode, Tinyiko Simbeni. Tinyiko, welcome to the show.
Good afternoon to you and your viewers.
Thank you so much for joining us. And I do understand that GirlCode has been in existence for more than a decade right now, and your goal is to reach 10 million girls all across South Africa and the world. What do you guys do, basically bridging the gap between, you know, girls that are raised in the urban areas and the rural areas as well?
Yeah, so GirlCode essentially is a social enterprise that aims to empower young girls and females through technology. And how we go about achieving this is by teaching coding to girls from as young as 8 right up to 35, and then providing them with job opportunities at the end of the program. And as GirlCode, we go out and reach the girls at grassroots level. As you mentioned, that we go out into disadvantaged areas to ensure that, you know, the youth of South Africa are competing just like their international counterparts from a young age, especially because, you know, the world is getting so technologically advanced, and we need to get children, especially young girls in South Africa, playing with technology at a very young age and not only touch a computer when they get to university. Yeah,
so girls and young kids in South Africa, they need to be techno savvy. You know, you go down to the ground, you know, you engage with a lot of young girls from rural areas. How dire is the situation? Because we are seated right here in Johannesburg, but there's this issue of accessibility to the internet. And then the person has internet, but data is very expensive. How dire is the situation on the ground?
Yes, so the situation on the ground is extremely dire to the point where, like you mentioned, access, there's lack of access, right, to both devices as well as internet. But what we've seen is that more and more telcos are coming to the party to get into the rural areas and building computer labs and providing platforms that are zero rated. But the situation is still quite a dire one, and we still have a very long way to go as a nation, and it does make our task quite difficult as GirlCode, but we do try our best to get these devices to these young girls in these rural areas through various partnerships, because we all know the importance of partnerships and the fact that collaboration can drive so much more, and we cannot move in silos as various entities who are trying to bridge the gender gap as well as the technological gap in this country. Yeah.
Talk to me about some of the opportunities that may open up to a girl or say Siabuswa, or a girl or say Limpopo. What opportunities open up when they finally have access to the internet?
Yes. So I'll just give a practical example with one of our GirlCoders who happened to come from a village in Limpopo, and she's currently now working and living in the UK, you know, and obviously we don't promote exporting talent, but the beauty about this, especially with her being a female, is that females are naturally nurturing and always give back. And because she's been exposed on an international level, she's brought those skills back and also started an initiative within her village to bring back those skills into South Africa and help the young girls who are coming up after her, and which is something that we're very big on as an organization, and we promote amongst our beneficiaries, pay it forward for the next girl. So what it does, so basically exposing girls not only on an international level, but not only on a national level, but rather on an international level as well, and giving them a skill that no one else can take away from them, right? A skill that not only can get you employment, but it can also help you pivot into entrepreneurship as well. We all know the very high youth unemployment rate, especially after Q3, we're looking at 55.8% now. So companies also don't have capacity to hire all of these young people in our country. So us as GirlCode, we're very proud to give them skills that can pivot them into entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs who also then hire, you know, and create job opportunities, which also then create adds to basically improving the economy of the country.
Yeah. I also want us to rope in the G20 Summit into this conversation. We know that AI integration and technology is a very important part of it. What's your role? What do you do? How do you plan on using the G20 Summit being held in South Africa in order to propel GirlCode forward?
Yes, so as GirlCode, our plan is to basically solidify our partnerships with multinationals, especially multinationals who are big on or are focused on youth skills development. I think those partnerships can go a long way, especially from a funding perspective or a grant, injection perspective, because this will then in turn help us to reach a higher number of youth within South Africa, and then also expose them to international opportunities, which will then empower them to basically learn, upskill themselves, and then bring those skills back into South Africa and contribute towards building technology that will help South Africa as a whole and Africa as a whole.
Yeah. You know, through the digital age and through social media, we are then able to voice out our concerns. You know, now we have X, we have social media, and a lot of young people are using these social platforms to start movements online. You know, I want you to talk me through the importance of using social media positively to impact our environment.
Yes, so the use of social media positively, a perfect example is basically, we've seen now with the youth being very intentional about finding job opportunities. I'll take LinkedIn as an example, where the youth are now basically putting themselves forward, these skills, advertising themselves, marketing themselves for potential hiring partners, people who are looking to hire, or someone who's looking for a service that they can potentially offer for a means of income. So that's a perfect example of, using social media to your advantage. And we've also seen young people basically using social media to bring light to important situations, just like the dire situation that we currently face as a nation with the very high youth unemployment rate, to basically, bring together other youth, and so that they can come together, and so that youth can also understand that they're not alone, those who are in various parts of the country, that this is, a situation that we're all trying to fight together, so to build some sort of community, just so they can also contribute towards brainstorming ways in which, we can fight this very dire situation they're currently facing.
Speaking of brainstorming and sharing ideas online, throughout the entire show, we've been speaking about the fact that a lot of young people feel excluded from the main G20 Summit. Do you then think that social media is the way to go for young people to voice out their views?
Absolutely, because social media allows them to basically voice out their views the best way that they can. I'm talking now your TikTok, you don't necessarily have to have traditional media and have a traditional way of depicting what you need to depict and basically sharing your message. There's various ways. And I think this is important for the youth, especially not to box them in and make it difficult for them to voice their opinions as well as the ideas.
Talk me through your goal of reaching 10 million girls. What's the goal behind that, and why 10 million the number, and how are you planning to reach the goal?
Yes, so we've got a very big and audacious goal as an organization, simply because, it's bad for business to leave behind the girl child. And we know that as a nation and on a global stage, there's a very huge gender inequality within the STEM space, which doesn't make sense, because we do need girls and women contributing towards building technology. You mentioned AI earlier. You can't have a man building AI technology for women to use, right? You need someone who understands from a female perspective to know how to build technology that can enable, females correctly. Because again, we've seen with AI the inaccuracies that come with that, and the danger that comes with feeding it
information.
Absolutely. And how we aim to achieve this as an organization is, number one, we've pivoted a lot of our programs, so they're hybrid, both online as well as in person, now allowing us to reach girls and women throughout the entire country, but in Africa as well, so that we can fight this even on an African or international African level as well.
Yeah.
So I think from our side, number one was to pivot the programs. Number two is to partner with other community partners who are and have infrastructure within these rural areas and these disadvantaged areas to basically give us access to their computer labs. You know, collaboration has been key in us reaching this very big and audacious goal, and it's helped us to reach so many more girls, and also having opportunities to be on platforms such as this to reach audiences that we normally wouldn't have reached on any other day, right? It's important for us to be able to voice our message, and now that you've put our our big and audacious goal on a public platform, I can definitely
it's definitely going to happen.
It's definitely going to happen. Yes.
I want us to speak about our curriculum in our schools, and also looking at our counterparts within the G20. In China, for example, you would have young kids that do robotics and STEM from a very young age. But also in South Africa, we've also started integrating this. I know that STEM now is taught from grade 4, in our schools. Why is this important?
This is important because, as I mentioned earlier, the world is getting so technologically advanced and at a very fast pace. And as a nation, the youth are getting left behind, especially within South Africa, and we need to get young people, children specifically, playing with technology at a young age so they can be familiar and comfortable with technology and understand that technology enables them on so many levels. It allows them to build platforms. It enables them to better their communities even at a young age. They don't necessarily have to wait until they're older because, with technology, the world is your oyster.
And what are some of the challenges does your NGO face, when you're delivering digital skills and training to remote communities?
Yes, so some of the barriers is basically the girls having a fear to interact with the technology because we take this for granted, but you still get girls still this year where they've never even seen a computer or a laptop or a mouse in the entire existence. And shame, they always feel like they're either gonna break it, and for me it's like yes, I want you to break it, explore, break it apart, see how it comes together, understand the components that it takes to bring it together, understand what it can do for you, and do but basically what you can also do with it.
All right. So then how do we as South Africans get involved in making sure that you reach your goal?
I think number one, we can get parents to sign up their children through our website on www.girlcode.co.za. Then, of course, the various sponsors, corporates, as well as public sector companies. They can then reach out to us either through collaboration, through infrastructure or funding, because this will then enable us then to reach a far larger audience.
All right. Thank you so much, Dinyiko, for joining us right here on SABC News Live. That was Dinyiko Simbini, who is a co-founder of GirlCode, just speaking a bit about the importance of introducing young girls to AI, information and technology.